Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome to Art with Kayla.
And Lauren.
I'm Lauren, the outreach educator.
I'm Kayla, and I do office administration at the Wildlife Center, and I also do a lot of design and artwork, like on various products in the shop and at various publications, and all the graphics on the stream today. I did that too.
Kayla is being humble and not talking much about her skills, but they are awesome. So I am very pumped for this segment of Virtual Earth Day.
It's exciting.
It is.
So I think early on you had some questions about what people could be using to draw today, and I will say anything because I am using an iPad, but you are more than welcome to use whatever you would like because you can draw with anything pretty much. So I saw some things about pens and pencils. Have at it. We're just gonna doodle a little buttercup and kind of talk about buttercup.
Those materials seem super accessible. It's almost like we designed it for people that are self-quarantining at home.
You could walk into any room in your home and find an art supply.
You could use dirt if you wanted to, or chalk on the pavement. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that's true. Earth Day.
Earth Day.
So I'm just going to start doodling a vulture. I can kind of talk about how I'm drawing, or maybe we can kind of look at what I'm drawing and talk about different parts of the vulture physiology, maybe. I thought that might be kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I love to geek out all that stuff, so I'm game for that. Also, for anybody that's listening on our Facebook, head over to our website, wildlifecenter.org, so that you can submit comments on the chat, and I will read them and try to also keep up a verbal discussion with Kayla at the same time, which is entertainment in and of itself.
You're a wizard. You could do it.
You're a wizard, too.
All right, so I'm going to start by sketching. Usually every time I draw, or not usually, every time I draw, I start with a sketch. So we're going to start with something that's a little loose. I have the wrong pencil here. So that way we can kind of establish the general shapes of what we're going to do. So I encourage you to do the same thing. I have a picture here pulled up of a vulture, which I think is a great idea. It's always great to study from life and from nature. So I'm looking at a photo as I draw, and I'm kind of establishing where his head is. And then I'm going to kind of draw into the beak. So what, Lauren, makes vulture beaks so special? And why are they shaped that way? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so vultures are unique because they eat carrion, which means that they eat dead stuff. And that sounds really gross, but I'd like to remind everyone that so do we. But they are our ecological garbage men, essentially. And so their beaks are designed a little bit differently than other raptors, like hawks or eagles or owls, because what they're feasting on is already dead. So today we're going to be drawing Buttercup, who is our education black vulture. But in the wild, we have black vultures and turkey vultures in North America. Now, turkey vultures have a couple of adaptations that black vultures lack, such as a really strong beak. And that beak actually is able to make the initial tears in a carcass so that black vultures can come along and eat all the good stuff on the inside. So it's nice and long because they can get into all those good nooks and crannies. Yuck.
And also in drawing the beak and the head, so their faces don't have any feathers on them, right?
Yeah, so their heads don't have any feathers, and that is for purpose, not for fashion, as many of you might think.
So fashionable.
So fashionable. Yeah, so when they're digging around in dead stuff, obviously all that stuff is prone to sticking to their head. So if they were covered in feathers, it'd be very hard and challenging for them to clean their heads appropriately. And it would allow for like bacteria and infections to sort of nook their way in there, and that's not great. So by having those bald heads, they can avoid that, and it keeps them a little bit cleaner, which is really important to wild animals. Cleanliness is very important to being successful in the wild.
Well, and vultures themselves are kind of nature's cleanup crew, right?
They sure are. They sure are. Kayla, what part are you drawing? I think that I only see a circle.
You only see a circle? That's interesting.
Oh, my brother is on the moderated discussion. His name is Brotendo.
Hi, Brotendo. Look, I think we just jumped all the way to where we are now. You know what we can do is I can do a video playback of what everybody missed. So sorry about that, everyone. So this is going to be a speed replay of what I just drew.
Zoomy, zoomy, zoom. Whoa. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow. Sorry about that.
Wow.
Zoom, when you screen share, is a little special. We've really had a lot of technical difficulties today, but, you know, we're making it work.
Yeah, hopefully, well, hopefully no one has noticed them too much. Hopefully it's like, you know, when I used to play in orchestra, they would say, if you mess up, just keep going, because probably no one noticed but you. So.
Well, now
also,
we
Carrie,
have more of a vulture to look at, don't we?
We sure do. Carrie said, I'm loving this already. Kayla plus Lauren equals epic entertainment. Yes, we are, Carrie.
Good.
When Kayla suggested that we also have like a little chat show over, or like talk show over her drawing, I was like, okay, I don't know if the people are ready for this goofiness, but here we go.
Here we go. Sorry, everyone, that you missed the beginning of that. I will do a quick replay of the video so we can look at that again.
Oh, yeah.
So you can kind of see how I started with the circle and refined the face and then just kind of went down the neck into the body.
Wow, that's pretty neat, Beach Babe said. Yeah, it is pretty neat. You guys should know that I am also experiencing Kayla's live art for the very first time as well. So I am also blown away just as much as you guys are.
I feel like it's for some reason vultures I feel like are very easy to draw for me because I just love them so much.
So exec producer said you should podcast this.
Oh man, that's a good thought.
Can you imagine? I don't think the people are ready for a podcast. Let's see how this goes, exec producer.
So I am working on the vulture feet now. What about, so vulture feet are different from a lot of other birds' feet, right?
Yes, they sure are. And so along with how their beaks are a little bit differently shaped, a lot of vultures are shaped differently. For example, their wings are actually very loud. They don't have to disguise the noise when they move around because what they're hunting is already dead, right? So they make an enormous amount of noise when they flap their wings. And their little feet, they don't need to grab prey, which means that they are a lot less threatening than a red-tailed hawk or a bald eagle or an owl. And their, so to speak, talons are a little less aggressive or a little less intense than, you know, other raptor species, but their feet are built for walking on the ground. So if you imagine a red-tailed hawk with those big old talons walking across the ground, that's not going to be an excellent mode of transportation for them because it would basically be like walking in stilettos in the grass. So vultures instead have feet that look very similar to other ground walking birds like turkeys. And there's a lot of similarities there. And that's because they just spend a lot of time on the ground naturally because that's where their food is.
That makes sense.
Oh, I like the little heart addition.
Yes. Now I'm going over top of my sketch with some better lines. If you're ever nervous when you're drawing about, I saw some people saying early on that they don't typically do art or they're not confident in drawing. I encourage you to start with a rough sketch like that. And then when you go over top of it with a pen or something more permanent, you're going to have the bare bones worked out very well and you'll do a great job.
Yeah, and also art is subjective. If you like it, that's all that matters.
Agreed.
And if you don't like it, then you just try again. Carrie suggested that we name our podcast Life is Wild with Kayla and Lauren. Today's episode is Vultures. We eat dead stuff, and so do you.
I love it.
Also, Nature Walk submitted, you can tell it's a vulture because of the way that it is.
That's true.
And I suspect that that is my brother. Who knows that I love nature walks.
Because of the way that it looks. So, speaking of that, I was outside yesterday walking and I saw a bunch of turkey vultures. For people who see vultures flying up in the sky, like from underneath and just see a silhouette, what is the best way for them to be able to like quickly identify them?
Oh, yeah. So absolutely. This is one of my favorite things to do. And oftentimes it happens while I'm driving, which is not the most opportune time to be birding, but that's what you get when you don't have somebody else to drive for you. Hashtag I don't have a chauffeur. So when you're looking at a vulture flying in the air, you can tell it's a vulture because they have very, very broad, thick wings. And they are also predominantly black. For turkey vultures, they actually have some white feathers underneath, but black vultures, you can tell the difference because they are a little bit smaller than turkey vultures, which sometimes size is hard to gauge when things are flying, right? But black vultures actually have black feathers underneath their wings. So it's actually pretty easy to remember the difference. How convenient of them.
I know, that's very thoughtful of them.
So considerate.
They also kind of like the way that vultures fly is pretty apparent too when you, right? Like when you're looking at them.
Yes. So they flap a lot less because they have those wings that are specially built for gliding. And turkey vultures especially will glide as a hunting method. And so what they essentially do is turkey vultures have a pretty good sense of smell, which is very unique amongst the bird world. Birds in general don't really have a sense of smell. And so that little myth, if you pick up a wild bird and put it back in its nest, its mom will smell the humans and not come back for it, totally untrue. And that goes for any wild animal, to be honest. But when turkey vultures are hunting, their food stinks, right? It's rotting, it's decaying. And so it smells, like a fresh pizza to them, though. So when they're flying around, they're doing a lot of soaring because they're picking up on that scent in the air. And then they're essentially dialing in on that scent by creating a bullseye almost and flying closer and closer until visually they can see it. And then, a whole flock of them descends upon it. And when they descend upon a carcass, it's really important that they are able to practice this natural behavior, not only because it's feeding them, but because it's taking really harmful things out of the environment. So things like anthrax and botulism and, salmonella, rabies, all kinds of things they are able to digest because their stomach has a pH of 1, which if you're familiar with the pH scale, 1 is equivalent to battery acid. So, that's really significant. If say we didn't have vultures, right? Like all of a sudden, snap your fingers, they're all gone. First of all, I would cry probably for the rest of my life, but also all of those things would leach into our waterways. They would get into other animal populations and, make other animals really sick and then also translate to humans. All of those things are really scary things for people to have as well. So we have vultures to thank for cleaning all that up. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, and that's a great example of One Health as well, what you just described.
Yes, I love One Health. Yeah, One Health is the concept that all things are connected, and I think that a lot of times people think of the environment as humans and the environment, but what we forget to remember is that we are a species on this planet, just like squirrels or birds or, your dogs and cats at home. We are another population of an animal inhabiting this planet. And so it behooves us to take care of it, because what we save saves us, right?
Mm-hmm. And One Health means healthy people, healthy animals, healthy earth.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And it's important to remember that, especially on Earth Day, because, whatever you put out into the world ultimately comes back to us collectively, right? So if you put lots of pollution out into the world, then our population suffers. And not only that, but all of the things that aren't as skilled at evading natural processes as humans, they suffer substantially as well.
So tell me about, I was present for this event, but I also want you to regale everyone with the tale of Buttercup dancing for you and what that means and what vultures do for, because I love when birds do mating dances, because they're all different yes. and they're all amazing. But I want to hear about like your description of what Buttercup does and what your experience was for that and why he did it to you specifically.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay. On my list of life goals, it was to have Buttercup do his mating dance for me. And for people who are maybe new to the Wildlife Center and found us through Facebook or, other means for Earth Day, Buttercup is an imprinted black vulture. And because he's imprinted on people, he can't be released back into the wild. And it made him a pretty good candidate as an education ambassador. So Buttercup educates thousands of people all over the state. And now also, thanks to virtual programming, all over the world about vultures and how important they are to our ecosystems. Plus, he's just a seriously charming guy. But essentially, imprinting means that when he was young, he looked at and interacted with people far too much, unfortunately. And so he now views humans as his conspecific. So for things like mating or competition for food and space, instead of looking to other vultures, he looks to people. Now, all of that sort of lends people to think that he is quote unquote friendly, but he surely is not friendly in the way that like your dog or cat is friendly. He is still a wild animal. It's just that he is in a weird purgatory of birdland where he doesn't really talk to vultures, but he's not a person. So when it is mating season in the springtime, instead of looking to other birds as mates, he looks to people, which is a little awkward and also can be quite dangerous in some situations with birds and other animals. But while I was live streaming for the Blue Ridge Outdoors Magazine's Facebook page, Buttercup chose me to do his mating dance, and it was the pinnacle of my life, Kayla. So essentially, Buttercup's goofy modified mating dance is that he stands up super straight and he tucks his little chin and his little beak and he puts his wingies out just a little bit and he basically paces in front of you in like slow motion. And I can only assume that he chose me to do this simply because I am enamored with him. No, I'm just kidding. It's not to make this weird. I love working with that bird. He's truly a joy. But it's likely because I work with him in a positive capacity for our training sessions, almost every day. And when I'm not working with him, Alex is working with him, my colleague. And previously, Buttercup had done his mating dance for Alex. And I was extremely jealous because Buttercup was making scrapes, which are ground nests, in front of me, and then trying to like fancy Alex in front of me. And I was like, wow, way to just really rub it in. So rude. Not to anthropomorphize him, of course, right? These are all human projections of what he's doing. He was just living his life. But Yeah, when he did that for me, I had to keep it together because I was on a live stream. But like honestly, I just wanted to like put my phone down and just be like, "Oh my gosh, Buttercup, you are so beautiful. Look at you." Yeah. But that was pretty spectacular because that means that I'm in the inner circle with
Oh,
Buttercup.
wow.
And I know it's
It's
a very
exclusive.
it's very exclusive. It's very sought after. Um since then, he does his mating dance for me. I'd say like at least 2 times a week.
Oh, really?
So,
I didn't know. I
yeah.
did not know.
Yeah, when I'm like picking up scraps out of his enclosure, he'll just be like, "Oh, look at your arm. I want to mate with that." And I'm like, "Oh, this is a little awkward now, I guess." At first it was flattering, and now it's like I have to fulfill this huge role. I have so many expectations from him.
Oh.
So what you doing there on the drawing?
I am adding some color to a black vulture. So the color is going to be black. So I'm coloring him his feathers right now. I have, if you were doing this digitally, what I'm doing is I have another layer and I have it kind of set to a lighter color on top. And if you're doing this on paper, if you're drawing along with me, you know, you could do this with crayons. You could do it by shading with a pencil. Luckily, black vultures have a limited color palette, so really you don't need that many colors. Or you could go crazy, make up a new vulture. Live your bliss is what I say.
Live your bliss. Marley asked me on the chat. Well, first of all, she said, "Looking great, Kayla." So,
Thanks.
yeah. And Kelsey said Kayla is so talented.
Thanks, Kelsey.
But Marley also said, "Lauren, did you work with vultures before the Wildlife Center of Virginia? I don't think we've ever talked about it." And yes, I actually have worked with pretty extensively a turkey vulture in New Jersey when I lived up there. And he is a gem as well. But I am pretty partial to vultures. I really love vultures, opossums, and snakes. And I don't know whether it's a coincidence that they are usually the sort of more unfavored animal groups of the bird, reptile, and mammal world. But I just really love all those guys. And coincidentally, opossums are also little garbage men as well. So, but I don't think that opossums have the stomach strength that vultures do.
Oh, opossums are interesting though because they eat ticks, right? I love to hear about that. I love to talk about that. I think you should. I know we're drawing a vulture right now, but I think that it's an important thing to bring up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's critters. We're from the Wildlife Center. We can talk about anyone we want. Opossums are truly spectacular little creatures, and it is the heartbreak of my life that they are so short-lived, because I think that they deserve to live forever. Each and every one of them. We would have so many possums. But opossums eat ticks like out the wazoo. They are just, yes, support your local opossum colony by creating habitat for them, giving them kindness from afar when you see them in your yard. Just shower them with good vibes. Make sure you don't feed them. That's not really great for them. But yeah, they eat ticks and dead stuff, and they're precious. So like, what more could you want?
I can't imagine. I think about this sometimes. I don't know if this is a weird thing to think about, but I think about how many ticks would be in the world if it were not for opossums.
Oh my gosh, I know. And how much dead stuff would be in our, a long time ago, I read a statistic, and I wish that I had looked this up before this chat, but I read a theory that if we deleted all of the scavenger species, like opossums and vultures, from our planet, we would be stepping over dead stuff every 10 steps. Imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine the stank.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, like, because when I saw those turkey vultures I mentioned yesterday, I was like, what in the world are they? It was a bunch of them circling. I was like, what are they looking for? And if you think about it, in general, when you're not near a road, I don't see a lot of dead things.
Right, exactly. And that's tribute to how well these scavengers are doing. They're really helping us out. Also, everything dies. So, like, what a niche to fill in an ecological circle, right?
It's true. You have job security if that's your job.
You do have job security till the very end. Till the very end of time. Yes, you sure do.
I was trying to think if there's anything. So, okay, if you've worked with a turkey vulture, they are larger than black
Yes.
vultures. Are there any other distinct differences behaviorally that you noticed between like, which I know
Yes.
they're different, like Buttercup's Buttercup.
Yes.
He's a different, he's his own, not his own person. He's his own vulture.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
like in general, are there any distinct behavioral differences?
Yeah, so in working with them, you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
human care? Yeah. Okay. So, Apollo was the turkey vulture that I've worked with in the past, and he is a precious little being. He's much larger, and I think that black vultures, in my experience, are a lot more brave than turkey vultures. And I think that this is likely because black vultures have to be a little bit tough to like get a seat at the table, because turkey vultures find the carcass and then black vultures follow them to that carcass. And they kind of have to be like rough and tumble to get in there, and fight their way in there and get some nibbles in. So I think that turkey vultures are a little different in that way. And also, turkey vultures are known for being a little bit more nippy, but their nips are a lot more consequential because they have beaks that can actually are the purpose of them is to make the initial tear in a carcass. So when Buttercup bites me, for sure it hurts. Like, do not get me wrong, but the threat of a turkey vulture bite is a little more substantial simply because their beaks are built a little bit differently.
Yeah, because they are built to tear.
Right.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier
Yeah.
about them tearing, making the initial tears into things.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, I think that vultures are just such a lovely species to work with. And again, I might be partial because I love vultures, but yeah, I think that there's just so much we can learn from them. In New Jersey, I live by a town called Mount Holly, and Mount Holly actually had a descendants of vultures upon the town, and the residents were just absolutely floored and enamored and also horrified all at the same time. And the town came together and they were like, we've got to educate some people about vultures and not spread misinformation, but residents here need to understand what they are and why they're here and what they're doing. And so I showed up with Apollo and we presented to the town about vultures. And I will never forget, I was on TV, I was on the news. It was super great. I loved it so much. But one thing that really stuck out to me was this woman's interview on the news. She said that she had chopped all of the limbs off on all of the trees on her property to avoid the turkey vultures landing on her trees in her property. And I thought that that was so interesting because that's what turkey vultures and black vultures like thrive on is great visibility and also no obstructions to like smell and find things. So I thought that was very interesting.
So they were like, "Oh, thank you."
Yes, but that was also before Apollo and I showed up, and people were, I mean, they adored him. What a really, for me as an educator, what a really monumental program that was. That was people coming to me with a problem, with misunderstanding the species, and then me getting to show them one and say, like quell their fears and say, these guys are good and like, don't worry about it. They're not going to pick up your dog. They're not hunting cows on your farm. They're not going to like peck through your roof. Like, just leave them be and they'll move along when their food source, is diminished here and they'll find a new place.
See, that's a good segue. What are the biggest or the most common misconceptions about vultures that people have?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people think that vultures will hunt baby cows on farms, and that's something that I was not aware of. And I am friends with plenty of farm fluent people, and that was never something I had heard before. But it's something that I hear frequently enough that it may be a myth that's worth dispelling, right? But they're not going after living things. They're predominantly going after dead things. And then also an interesting nugget is that vultures occasionally eat rotting vegetables like pumpkins.
What?
Isn't that wild? Yeah. It's not super common. It's, like during the worst of the times. They're
But
like, oh,
specifically,
God.
it has to be rotting?
Oh, well, I don't know that they'd be able to get into fresh
Yeah, that makes
things,
sense. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they have been known to eat like, Halloween pumpkins.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Not commonly, not frequently at all. So you don't have to pepper spray
pumpkin.
you don't have to hide your pumpkin or pepper spray them when you put them out on your front porch. The squirrels are more of a threat.
Oh yeah.
But also, isn't that nice that you get to share that little holiday? Can you imagine being a squirrel at Halloween time? That must be a squirrel holiday. Like if I was going to anthropomorphize squirrels, I would think that they have a holiday for Halloween because everybody puts out pumpkins for free.
For food.
Yeah, adorable.
I'm trying to think if there's any questions I have about Buttercup, because I love Buttercup. I remember when I got hired at the Wildlife Center, I think that was like the first thing I said to Lacey. It was just like, I love Buttercup. And I took my staff photo in front of Buttercup. Amanda will remember that.
When I got hired and I was talking to you about all of my benefits and hire papers and all that good stuff, I was like, let me look this person up on the internet, on the website, because I just want to know what she looks like. And I saw that you were standing in front of Buttercup and I was like, we're going to be friends. She's good.
Friendship.
She got that cool haircut and also she likes Buttercup. So done deal.
Who doesn't like Buttercup?
Hey, let's read some of these comments, shall we?
Please.
Katie's mom says, this is amazing and he is beautiful. Thanks for Kayla. Thanks, Kayla, for doing this. Marley said, if only we could have a celebrate a scavenger day. Oh my gosh.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe we should just do that.
Seriously.
Lacey said Apollo is a really great name for a vulture. Yes. I miss him a lot all the time. What a little nook in my heart he had carved.
Aww.
Marley said, fun fact, a few weeks ago, I saw a black vulture and a red-tailed hawk sitting on top of the same deer carcass. Whoa! I've never seen those two species so close together in the wild before. That's cool, Marley.
That is really cool.
Carrie said, I think I'm hooked. How do we get Kayla and Lauren to be at very least a monthly event? Wow, could you imagine if we did this every month?
Oh, I'd be down.
Oh, man. Oh, Amanda posted your photo from the staff website.
I look different now.
Yes. Angel Kitty says you do not want to see her vulture. And you know what? I bet you I would.
I would. I think everybody's art's great. I encourage everyone all the time to draw. And you should never in any aspect of your life compare your skill set to someone else's. If you get enjoyment out of something, do it.
Oh my gosh.
And be proud of it.
Yes.
Because if you created something, that's amazing. I would love to see what everybody drew.
Oh my gosh. Yes, for sure. I would too. Also, so that everybody knows this, and all of my work colleagues, I bet you guys don't know this about me, but in my house, wherever I'm living, I actually have something called a friend art wall where all friends just draw me things on napkins, on canvases, on paper, what have you, and I hang it on a wall. I need to friend art because I literally love any kind of art.
All art is good art.
All art is good art. And I love that everybody's art has a personalized zest and flair,
Yes.
Oh, apparently ROK in Seville emailed her vulture to me.
Ooh, I'm excited. Thank you for sharing.
Yes, I am so excited as well.
I'm
Amanda
just,
said you came for art, but are getting life lessons from Kayla. Yes.
that's right. Yeah, right now, just so you know, I'm just kind of adding some highlights. This is just me kind of adding some stylization to it, because obviously the highlights would not look like this. But just kind of having fun with it, because I think everyone should have fun with whatever they're doing. I think it's good to stop and appreciate nature with art on Earth Day. Any kind of art. Like, love it.
Yes, share your art. Amanda just said y'all can post here directly too if you want to share. And yes, I encourage everyone to share.
And I will definitely send this to Lauren when it's done so we can put it up. If anybody wants to download it, feel free.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, he's a cutie, Kayla.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I feel like I make them look really cute. But, I mean, this is how they look to me, so artist interpretation.
I love it. I think that he's great.
So, so you're relatively new to working with Buttercup.
Yes.
Is there anything, I know we're in the world's kind of weird right now, but is there anything that looking forward into your relationship with Buttercup that you're looking forward to happening or to doing with him? Is there anything that comes to mind?
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, all of the birds that I work with, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is give them good enrichment and good exposure, right? Mm-hmm. And if they have to be with us in human care, we are honoring them by at least using them as a teeth jing method so that other animals don't end up like them, by getting hit by cars or being accidentally imprinted. And that's how we sort of deal with this, honestly unfortunate situation that they can't go back into the wild. But for Buttercup, part of our training is purely enrichment. And that's kind of how I get, Girl Scout points with him. So that when I'm like, hey, you want to do this thing that might be a little bit scary? He's like, all right, I kind of trust you. And also it's fun for the both of us. So yeah, I think in the future, I am so excited to hopefully get him to do programs. I'm not sure what that will look like, whether that'll be virtual programs, whether that'll be tours on site, whether we'll go off site, unsure. But he dictates his path. But eventually I would like to, I already share him with the world. I would just like to do that more, honestly.
Yeah, fair. I feel like everybody who comes to the center for any sort of like school program or tour or something, I feel like when they leave, because since I've started too, I've been on a couple of the tours, and I feel like people are just so enamored with him when they meet him. Like he's got a lot of personality, and I just think people go into it thinking that he's not going to be that charismatic or not going to be that interesting, and then they leave us with a whole new perspective on vultures because of Buttercup. He's an amazing ambassador for his species.
Yes. Well, listen, he is a glutton for attention. Let me tell you what. Anytime I bring a tour, he is up front and center. And then he throws a little bit of a fit when you walk away because he'll try to go with you, and then he'll fly at the edge of his enclosure. Unless it's raining. Buttercup has a strong preference to be cozy and dry and not be wet.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, same. And also, if he has the luxury of that choice, why would you choose to be wet, right? So,
yeah. I remember one of the open house tours I went on when my parents were there, so they could meet Buttercup. He got the attention. There were a couple teenage girls there, and he was hamming it up for them, chasing them and trying to get up front and everything. And they were just really enjoying it. And you could tell, I mean, I don't think going into it, they were like, I want to hang out with the Vulture today, and I'm like, this is so good. This is great.
We had to build him new perch in the front of his enclosure because he was actually damaging the wall, like the structure of his enclosure from standing on the front. Yes. And so I think it was 2 years ago, they made him a special perch so that he can actually stand on the perch in the front of his enclosure because he's just so enamored with groups of people. I mean, that lends to the fact that he's imprinted on people, right? Of course, he appreciates the socialization from people. But Buttercup is a very different story if you're in his enclosure and you are not in that special inner circle.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So he would not make an ideal pet.
No wild animal.
No wild animal would be a pet. I think that I am always conscious of how I describe him so that no one would think that accidentally, he could be a pet.
Yeah, he's a coworker, right? He's doing his job being a really good ambassador.
Yes, he is so good.
One thing I wanted to mention too, because we are super talking up Buttercup as we should, is that he can be adopted, right?
Yes, through the Caring for Critters sponsorship packages. Yes. So any of our education ambassadors, as well as turtles, bunnies, and bears, the 3 seasonal packages as well, can be symbolically adopted. And like, oh my gosh, what a treasure to give to someone as a gift. That would be, I mean, I know that people have donated bunny to organizations in my name before, because I own enough physical things that I don't need more gifts, right? But like, donate some money to a charity that I believe in, or an organization like the Wildlife Center. But to get something back like that is, and just feel so connected to that animal is really precious.
Well, and with the adoption, they would get updates about Buttercup, right?
Yes. Yes, they would. Yeah. Or any of those animals that they adopt. For sure. And some of them are written by me.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That sounds like a treasure.
It is a treasure, if we're being honest.
Well, I think I'm done with my Vulture, and we're about at time anyway, so that worked out really well.
Great. Oh my gosh, he looks so good, Kayla.
Thanks. I'd love to see everybody else's too, who drew along.
Yeah, me too. Look at his cute, chunky feet. Oh man. And also that you're doing this from the iPad. Cool. Super cool.
Yeah, technology's great. It's been a whole day filled with technology that we've had today.
Yes. Oh, and Marley reminded me that the Caring for Critters package also comes with a cute Buttercup photo, so you can put it on your wall and brag about him.
What more could you possibly want, Lauren?
Honestly, sometimes I think about like designating rooms to things, and I would love to designate a room to all of the wonderful animals that I've worked with. And I really think that Buttercup would probably occupy a grand amount of space.
Just have a whole Buttercup room.
Yes. Maybe it would turn into a shrine, and that might be a little odd.
Yeah, that's true.
He's worth it, so. All right. Are we done?
Yeah, I think I'm done. I can send you this image, so anybody who's watching, if they want to have it in their life, they'll be able to download it.
Oh my gosh.
And keep it forever.
Yes. All right. So we have a couple of submissions.
No way.
Yes. So Marley drew at her desk. Oh my gosh. He's cute.
He's so cute.
Oh, Marley's going back to work. Yeah. Marley is very busy right now. So I love that she dropped in and she was able to draw the top half
thank
of
you,
Butters.
Marley. I love it. Oh my gosh.
All right. And then here's one from Barb G. That's really good.
That's so good.
I know. So lovely.
You got the beak like down.
Yeah, truly. And the proportions.
Yeah, that's impressive because honestly, I struggle with that when you're just eyeballing something. That's really difficult to get.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I hope that those 2 submissions will encourage others to post theirs, because I know that you and I would like to see them, but I think everyone would like to see each other's.
Yeah, we could have a whole Vulture gallery. That's
the
dream.
That's the dream. That's really the dream.
Man. Well, I think we're at about time. But if everyone hangs out here, I know that we're going to go offline for a little bit. We are going to have something exciting at 5, right? Do you want to talk about that really quick?
Yes, I would like to. So, friends, first of all, for everyone that joined us today for part of this, some of it, the whole thing, thank you so much for joining. For those of you who have donated today, you guys are spectacular. Thank you so much for believing in our mission and throwing some money our way to accomplish that mission. That's really, really kind and generous of you guys. I hope everyone is staying safe and staying well. We are not done for the day, though. We have a really beautiful video that Erin put together that we'll be posting at 5.
We'll be streaming it live on here at 5.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So definitely don't miss it. And then afterwards, we're going to stick around on the chat for a little bit and talk to all of you about what you guys feel after Earth Day and what we've accomplished. And of course, Earth Day is not over until midnight tonight, but our work day, Earth Day, of course. So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. And I hope that you guys submit, not only just your Vulture pictures, but all of the other things that you've done through the day today. We would really love to see them.
Oh, yeah, because you did the toilet paper tube crafts.
Yes.
I think I saw someone shared theirs on Facebook, maybe. I saw one.
Oh, okay.
And I saw Alex's.
Yes.
So I would love to see more of those as well.
Yeah, we're going to try to compile all of that stuff and put it in one nook on the website to sort of showcase how everybody engaged with us today.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we'll probably pull Carrie's poem, and if anybody else wrote anything, certainly everybody's Earth Day 2020 resolutions, I would love to read. We would love to read. You should submit. Tell me what you did and what you're committing to for a year. And then also, I think there was some writing prompts that we put up, scavenger sheets. Listen, if you went outside and you did the bingo sheet, take a picture with it if you're proud of it and send it to us because I would love to see that. That's just fantastic.
Yeah. So, I didn't get the opportunity to do that today, so I think I might do that another day.
Oh, yeah. That would be great. Yeah. Yep. And all these resources will be up. And just a reminder that all of this stuff is going to be archived. And I think that we'll officially stash it somewhere. But it will live on. So if you missed anything and you wanted to see it again, because I realized today is a Wednesday and a lot of people are working, no worries. You can get to it later.
Yeah. Always available online at wildlifecenter.org.
Yep. All right. Well, I think Kayla and I are going to go so that we can prep for that live stream of that really beautiful video about Earth Day. But we hope to see you on the moderated chat.
Yeah, see you at 5. Don't miss it. It's really good. So I'm excited.
It's really good.
So be here at 5.
Yes. All right. Signing off for today, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.